It's no longer a conspiracy. After all, there are no coincidences, right? Let me show you this. Because, yeah, they've been trying to control the weather for a long time. Of course, you remember this.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world. That will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Isn't that something? That's what they wanted to do. And that's what they've been doing. They're controlling the weather here in America. They try to control the weather around the world. I'm going to show you something here. Life is returning to Turkey's Demetrius Dam, dry as a sheep pasture for years, now suddenly overflowing with water. All this right after strikes from Iran that hit the UAE's weather control centers. You know it's just not a coincidence. Water and life is returning. Yeah, so I reckon America economy. In some areas, a little bit too much water, but that's probably because it's so dry. Even snow in certain areas. They hadn't seen snow in many, many years. I'm going over here and let you watch this little video with me. Appreciate it, y'all. Please hit that thumbs up because this explains a little bit more in detail. Thank y'all. Please hit that thumbs up, y'all. Share this out because a lot of people don't know. The weather has been manipulated. It got so dry here in South Carolina. Finally, a little thread of rain. We need it to settle the dust. But let's go back to Iran, where life is coming back.
He who controls the weather controls the world. For decades, conspiracy theorists have claimed that the U.S. government and others around the world were attempting to control the weather as a form of warfare. Well, tonight, that conspiracy is a fact. We're going to show you the documents that prove it. But even more shocking, the war in Iran may have proved that it isn't just a thing of the past. It's happening right now. In fact, Iran is an incredible example. Videos have poured into the newsroom showing heavy rainfall over areas across Iran. And this has been going on now for weeks. In some places, water is rushing through the streets. In other regions, they are experiencing not only massive rainfall, but even snowfall. These are places that for over a decade were dealing with a severe drought. In fact, that drought so severe for the last few years that it was thought that it could cause the Iranian regime to collapse. The situation was desperate. But now, Parts of Iran are seeing more rain than they have seen in over 60 years. So what changed? Honestly, a war with the United States, a war in which Iran targeted and destroyed radar systems across the region, including systems that are now believed to be connected to weather modification operations. See, before anyone jumps to any conclusions here, calm down. Let's slow it down. Let's walk through what we actually know, because there's fact, there's history, and then there's speculation. Let's talk about the facts. Iran has been in a drought for years, as I mentioned, a really bad one. In recent years, water shortages have hit agriculture, cities, and daily life. Right? This is not debatable. Iran, like many countries in the region, has been actively trying to solve the problem. So how do you do that? Well, here's where people get confused. Cloud seeding, right? It's not a conspiracy. It's very real and documented. The practice has been used for decades. In fact, countries like the United Arab Emirates have invested heavily in cloud seeding because they don't have natural water resources. They rely on desalination and supplement it by seeding clouds to increase rainfall. It's not just the UAE, by the way. Saudi Arabia, they do the same thing. You can see footage right now of rainfall there. Entire villages, in fact, have even been wiped out. So the idea that humans can influence weather, that part's not up for debate, right? That's old news at this point. The real question is how much and to what effect, and even to the point of it being used as a weapon of war. So let's add another layer to all of this, staying with the facts. Back in 2012, former Iranian president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad made a claim. At the time, it was laughed off. He said that Western countries were finding ways to block rain clouds from reaching Iran, that they were essentially manipulating weather patterns. It was as if the US had found a way to sanction rainfall. Again, this is 14 years ago. Media laughed it off. It was a conspiracy theory. He's crazy. After all, nobody can control the weather, right? So now put it all together. Iran was in a multi-decades drought. Then the war breaks out. Reports claim that systems connected to weather tracking and weather monitoring and weather control, or even cloud seeding operations, were obliterated. In fact, every US base around Iran was obliterated. And now, suddenly, record-setting rainfall and even snowfall. Maybe it's all just a coincidence, right? Maybe so. But take a look at this. Turns out the United States has a long history of considering using weather as a weapon against geopolitical opponents. This goes all the way back to 1965. The CIA conducted cloud seeding operations to extend the monsoon season in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The operation disrupted agriculture and destroyed northern Vietnamese supply lines during the Vietnam War. As President Lyndon Johnson once said, we said it at the beginning, he who controls the weather controls the world. 1965 all the way to 2026. As of today, right now, 30 US states have passed or proposed bans on weather modification. Funny, huh? That means there is no doubt the technology exists, because if it didn't, it couldn't be banned. So, has a weather war been waged on Iran over the past several decades? A war to create drought conditions, destroy agriculture, potentially bring the nation to its knees? And if it was, Iran may have just broken free in a very unexpected way.
Iran has just broke free in a very unexpected way. I think it's no longer a conspiracy theory, because there are no coincidences.